Alright guys, what's up? Here in the garage, the MR2. This is probably the first video that I'm going to be posting with this car, but have a bunch of parts coming, so I plan on making a bunch more videos. This is a 1986, well, it's not even the license plate that's going to be on it anymore. It's a 1986 AW-11 Mark 1A MR2, so first generation, first 2 years of production. Ignore my really dirty garage. I'll do a full walk around video and show everything about the car. It's got a body kit on it and some other stuff, but I've had it for about a month. Been doing a bunch of stuff to it, cleaning it up, fixing a bunch of things. And today I got the Jimi bracket to relocate the throttle bracket, throttle cable and stuff off of the top of the valve cover. I'm gonna make the engine bay a lot cleaner. I've seen a few videos of people doing this, but none had like super detailed instructions or showed where you could get this stuff, where you can get the kit. To get this kit, all you have to do is send an email to Jimmy. He's the guy that makes these. He's in the UK. This was $42 US shipped to the US, so $42 total. This is what you get right here. You get the bracket. He has it in a couple different finishes. I got this one that says MR2 on the top of it. You can get it all shiny or all satin, or with MR2 on it. So there's a couple different ways you can get it. And then it comes with full detailed instructions. So we'll be walking through this step by step as I do this. Obviously I haven't done it before, so it'll be a learning experience. And you also get two 6mm bolts that replace these two bolts right here that are currently on the valley cover. So all right, let me get this engine bay all opened up and set the phone up, and I will start going through the steps here. Step one of this is to remove the existing throttle cable. Neighbor's dog's barking over here. Hopefully that's not too loud. Remove this existing throttle cable, which is this one here on the right, out here from the bracket. All you have to do is pull this a little bit and get some slack in here, and then you can just kind of tilt it around. As you can kind of see right here, there's a slot right here by the head of this cable, and you just put the cable there into that slot. And might be difficult to do with one hand, but I should just be able to wiggle that out just like that. So that's our first step. Now here, I'll show the instructions too so you guys can follow along. We're now going to take these two bolts out and take this whole bracket off. So 2 bolts here, and then there's 2 on this side as well. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so the instructions say 2 6mm bolts. It might just be, it could be a US spec car thing, or just that the bolts in mine are not the originals. But these 2 on the valve cover are 10mm for me. So just something to note. Let's see, take these off. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff on my car doesn't, I have no idea. A lot of it has been modified. So it's a learning experience as I go here, what all is original and what is not. So I guess the question, yeah, so here's the bolt that he includes. Although that, let's see, is this a 10? What is this? Oh, that seems to be a 10. So maybe that's just, oh, nice. Maybe I'm reading this wrong, but the bolt actual diameters here appear to be the same, so it should work. So that's no problem. So just take these 2 out right here, and then there's one down here and one here on the throttle body. So that is and then I'll have to loosen this cable to actually get it off this bracket, and then that'll be these steps. So I'll just leave this recording while I do this, and I'll just cut this up after the fact. So the point of doing this is that this throttle bracket is really ugly. It's nothing wrong with it mechanically or anything. It just makes the engine bay really cluttered. And a couple of these videos that I'm going to be doing here are going to be about decluttering the engine bay. Other things, actually, no, I just took that bolt out. Those are not even the same bolts. So yeah, these are probably not the original bolts. that came with the car. Let's see, this one down here also seems to be a different size. Let's see if that's a 10. It's bigger. So let's see. Yeah, so I'm going to be removing this throttle bracket, and then one of the next things I'm going to be doing is removing all this EGR stuff. In a lot of the, or I guess all of the, yeah, so this one was a 12 mil for me. European spec cars and Japanese spec cars didn't have this EGR system, I guess, or at least that's my understanding. US spec and Canadian spec cars did have them, but again, it's all this right here, a bunch of vacuum lines and stuff, and I think it looks really ugly. If you have to pass emissions, you probably have to keep that, but I live in Texas, and since this car is older than 25 years old, I do not have, I don't have to do emissions for this car, so I'm not too worried about it. Let's see if we can get this bolt out. Yeah, so I don't have to worry about emissions, so I'm gonna remove that. And then the last thing is I'm probably also, so with this with this bracket, cruise control will no longer work. I don't really ever use cruise control anyways. This is my second car, project car, so it's not my daily, so I don't need cruise control. So I'm going to delete all of that stuff as well, and combined, those three things should make this engine bay a hell of a lot cleaner. So that bolt there was actually different. So his instructions say 6 mil and 8 mil. That could be the threads. That's probably what it is. I was thinking it would be the bolt head diameter, but I think he's talking about the thread diameter. So no problems there. Let's see, so this bracket is loose now. Let's see, what do we got? There's a little ball and a little thing here. You just gotta pop that off. Let's see, what is that connected to? Should just be able to pop that off. Oh, geez, a little aggressive, but yeah, just pop that off. And then this whole bracket is out now. So last thing I need to do here is loosen this up. So let's see what size that is. First guess is going to be 10. Crescent wrench on one side. And, oh, I should have done this one first. Not a 10, bigger than a 10. Let's try an 11. Not an 11, maybe a 12. All right, so that is a 12 mil up here. And I should just be able to loosen this just enough. Okay, loosen that enough to get it off. Beautiful. That probably shouldn't have been as difficult as I just made it look. All right, so next thing here, this is now free. We are still connected to the cruise control cable. So I guess I'll do the same thing here. And for now, just leave this cruise control cable hanging. Okay. Let me see. Okay, so there's another little ball and socket right here. Should just be able to pop this off. Everything is more difficult than it should be, of course. There we go. Okay, pop that off. And I'll just do the same thing right here, loosen this, and then the bracket should be going. Should be out. So let's see. Just loosen that one by hand and get that out. All right, so that is the bracket removed. I'm not going to use this, but I'm not going to throw it away. Just set that down here. Just in case I do ever in the future want to sell the car and for some reason those people don't want it. There's another little, pick the phone up. Hopefully, I don't know if you've been able to see anything. We're at 11 minutes now. There's this bracket right here. I think I'm just gonna take that out and then put that right back in. So that's out now. And then next will be actually kind of putting the bracket in. So let's see here. We have 2 bolts, 1, 2 right there. And that will be where this sits. And EGR tube will go right over this. So let me get that off, and we'll continue. All right. Yes, indeed. And you don't need to take this off. Again, it's just an aesthetics thing. Hopefully that can go back in all the way. Might bottom out, we'll see here. If it does, I'll put that back on, but. Oh, the other part of this step is to put in the 2 provided 6mm screws into that cover. Yeah, so replace the 2 that we just pulled out of the valley cover with the 2 shorter screws provided in the kit. Yeah, so that's getting a little tight, so I'm just gonna leave that. I don't want to torque it down and mess something up underneath, so let's see. Okay, we have 3 washers, 2 bolts. So I'm not sure what this bigger washer goes to. I'll save that for now, assuming that will come in the next step. And just the washer. The washer on. Look at the phone for a minute so you can see what I'm doing. Sorry if you haven't been able to see what I'm doing. So I just took out the little plate here, put this bolt back in. It doesn't go all the way down. It needs a shorter bolt, so I can just go find a shorter bolt. But this right here and this hole right here are the ones we took out for the bracket. And this is where the 2 provided bolts go in the kit. So you just put a washer in the bolt. Also clean this all up while I have it. Another thing I'm going to be doing here is taking this valve cover. So actually this, if you're unfamiliar with these, this valve cover side and this side are 2 completely separate pieces. But I'm going to take those out and get them powder coated. Probably back to the original look, the silver with the black and red text, because that's pretty cool. But just to clean it all up, this car has just over 200,000 miles on it, 208 to be exact. Nothing major mechanical wrong, but you know, it's almost 40-year-old car, so plenty of things to be fixed. Probably do brakes coming up as well. Okay, so one thing I'm kind of unsure of, we have this, which is part of what we took that ball out of. I'm sure this goes somewhere. I'm sure it's in the instructions. Here's our throttle cable. Oh, sorry, no, that's cruise control. Throttle cable is on this side. I think that's just, looks like a zip tie. A zip tie holding that there. And I'll reposition that. Some people reroute it like kind of under the battery, come up here. It's just as long as it's not hitting any moving parts. It's really the key. Okay, so got those in. Got to take these 2 out, and this piece should all come off. If I can see. Let's see. Okay, no, so this will stay. So maybe we just pop that off actually there, potentially. So we might be reusing this. So I might have been wrong. This obviously is the actual throttle. So this all stays. These 2 bolts are the ones I need to get off. So let's do that now. Okay. So What did I say that size was? Not 10 mils. I think they're probably 12s like the other ones. Let's see. Okay. Sorry if the dog's barking is really loud. I have no control over that. Oh, am I? Okay, that's really tight. Hold on. Look at that. That's on this one. Alright, might have to WD-40 these and come back in just a minute. Yeah, let me do it. I'm gonna WD-40 these and I'll come back just a minute. Alright, so still a little bit of work. I took the 2 bolts out that were right here. That takes this bracket off, as well as you can take the return spring off. And then reading the instructions, it looks like we want to take this bolt right there off and actually take this off so we can do a little bit of modification to it. So next step is going to be to take that bolt off right there. Other thing I did, cut that zip tie that was holding the throttle cable in and just moved it to this side of the block. We want to make sure that it's nowhere near the exhaust header or anything super hot. I mean, you can reroute it under the cable tray for now. I'm just going to leave it sitting there right like that. So next thing, I'm going to take this little piece off and we'll move forward. All right, and just for reference, this bolt, I put gloves on so I don't cut my hands anymore. This bolt right here that we need to take off is a 12 mil. So I'll tell them, I don't think you're going to be able to get a full socket in there. So just a little wrench we'll have to do for now. So let me take this off and then I'll be right back. I'll see when I take it off. Hopefully this spring doesn't try to go flying, but that's just something to note. Let me see though when I take it off here. Okay, so I've got that off. It is just a nut and a washer holding that on, so just be careful as you take this off that you don't drop those. So here's what we're working with, and it's right here on this, and it is almost rectangular, so you'll only be able to put that on, vertically. Okay, so now that we have everything off, that's everything that's coming off the car. The next thing that we are going to do, and again, here's just the next piece of instructions, just talking about rerouting the cable. Let's see, next page. I can get it with my glove on. So on this piece that we just took off, let me get this in the matching orientation. So we're going to want to get a little circular file and just put a little, rounded notch into the end of this, so that, because this is where the throttle cable will come in, and then the little cylinder on the end will rest in that notch. So you just want to match what it looks like there. Also, you can give this a little rub down with a wire brush if you want to while we're at this stage. And there's the instructions for that. Okay, and then here's next, but we will get to that next. So let me get a file out, do that, and I will come back when that is done. All right, after a quick run to Harbor Freight to get a Dremel tool that works, because mine was dead. I have a Dremel tool now, and I'm going to do the little slot in the bracket. So let me do that and I'll be back. All right, so we have filed our little spot there, and also filed, hello focus, that side down there to avoid hitting the bracket. Really bad focusing here by the old iPhone. Next, we get to reassemble everything. So we are using this again, as you can see from this picture. What? It's not focusing on anything right now? What are we doing? Okay, that goes back where it was. Okay, so let me throw all this back together, at least get the bracket on, and then I will come back to you. All right, so here we are, backed it out of the garage. Everything's all put back together. As you can see here, I do have a little bit touching this aftermarket exhaust. This isn't the stock, or I saw exhaust, intake, sorry. hitting this box. So what I think I'm gonna do, I mean it works, but I'm gonna loosen this and just turn this, just rotate this down to where I'm not having that conflict anymore. But everything is back on. Like I said, it's just these these 3 bolts right here, and that's that original plate that you had. Put the return spring back on. See if I can get in here. Oh, you know what? That's gonna be upside down. So how about we do this? Yeah, and unfortunately this EGR really blocks the view, but try to see if there's a view where you can see the cable. Yeah, a little bit to see under, or difficult to see under there, but all right. Anyway, so that's our finished look. Like I said, I got an EGR delete kit, so this is gonna be gone. This is gonna be gone. Right now, the cruise control is still just sitting here. Need to find a place to get rid of that, or well, find a place. Need to get rid of that basically. But that's everything. Idle is good. I think I did just slightly more tension on here. I mean, there's still, you're not gonna be able to see unless I get around here maybe. But under here, where are we looking? Under here, yep, there's the throttle cable. You don't want it to be tight. You don't want it to be already on throttle at all when you're not touching the gas. But I took just a little bit of the slack out, and honestly, the throttle pedal felt a lot better. So, I mean, honestly, the throttle just in general feels much better with this setup. I'm not sure if it's the bracket or how I have the cable adjusted. I probably could find a better place for this. I just routed it inside the battery there. You definitely want to be careful because like this, the shrouding is gone on this, and you do not want that touching a terminal. That will obviously short everything out. But I think this looks a lot better. Obviously, need to do the valve cover, get rid of some of this stuff in here, and this will be looking pretty clean. So thanks for watching, and tune in the next one when we do probably the EGR delete. Alright, after the fact, I realized that I didn't really show what I ended up doing with the cruise control stuff, so I just wanted to use these couple pictures and I'll just narrate over and you can see my cursor, and I'll just show you what I did. Very basic setup. So right here you can see that cruise control line that was just dangling, not attached to anything anymore, and none of this stuff is going to be working because obviously it's not connected to the throttle plate anymore. So these 2 big things up here that are on the firewall basically, it's like an actuator, and this is like a little vacuum, some sort of chamber or something like that, tank something I think it's called. We can just get rid of all this stuff because cruise control is not going to work. So this vacuum line right here just goes back to itself, and then on this side of the vacuum line, let me zoom in, you can see from bottom right here, trace down, gets his T. This side goes back up to this piece that we're removing, so no big deal. On this side, if you trace it over, it goes right down here and right under this little diaphragm. There's a couple little things, little basically nipples like these ones down here on the side of the block. I just got a couple little, well, there's only one for this, but I used a little vacuum line cap. I got a pack of like 80 of those off Amazon for about 10 bucks. And I just used one to plug up or cover that one little vacuum line that is actually connected to this system. So once you take that line off and that is plugged up, don't have to worry about the rest of these vacuum lines. It's this one goes back up here, and then this one just comes right around down to this side, and we're taking that off too. So no need to worry about that. I know it kind of can make people nervous messing with vacuum lines and stuff, but none of these are connected to the engine, and this is all useless anyways now since we have this disconnected. So that's the vacuum lines. There is 2 bolts right up here on this metal bracket holding all this stuff onto the car. You can just take those 2 10mm bolts out and then unplug this electrical connector. This connector is kind of weird, but you can see right here there's this little flange or little finger almost. I just put a flathead screwdriver under here and then just kind of pry that up just a little bit, and then this smaller piece here pops right out. Same thing then we move over to this bigger piece. There's 3 10 mils connecting this to the car. One is back here on the firewall, and then 2 are kind of behind this up top here. And that once you take those out, same exact thing. You'll just have to remove this connector. Same thing with that little, pop that little piece up and then take that off. I mean, that's really it. You'll have a little bit of this wiring harness kind of dangling. I just tucked it on this side of the battery tray. And that is about it. You can see here what it looks like after all that stuff is removed. You don't have to remove the battery, but I took the battery out. It makes it a lot easier. This is just when I was putting things back together. I wanted to take a, final picture. Obviously, everyone knows how to take a battery off, so I don't need to explain that to you. But that's pretty much it. I think this versus this, just that cruise control stuff looks a lot cleaner to have that removed. So I like this. Pairs well with making all this simpler right here. And the overall effect is that this engine bay is now much, much cleaner than it was before. And that is about all I wanted to say on this. So like I said, once I get this delete kit, I will make another video about how to take all this stuff off. And those 3 things in combination with doing this valve cover and maybe some more stuff with this heat shielding and stuff that I put in will overall make this look much, much better than it did originally. So you can be proud to open your rear engine compartment at car shows, because people at school, it's rear mid-engine car, no one sees it, or no one sees them, but kind of, open this, people are like, oh yeah, yikes. But do these couple things look a lot better. So that's all I wanted to say. Thanks for watching, guys, and come back when I post those new videos.